So, you and I are standing back to back. And you start talking to me. And you tell me that you're absolutely certain that debris is better than garbage. But you can't decide for sure. I mean, you know that dust is better than dirt, but you can't decide if dirt is better than debris. And then what do you do about shit? Because shit is ugly, evil, foul, disgusting, putrid, putrescent, decaying, horrifyingly ugly, dirty stuff. And yet, it's biodegradable. So, is shit better than garbage? Is garbage better than shit? This is the entire history of Western thought. This is what philosophy, science, all of academia, all of theology, all of politics, all of art, this is what it's taught forever. This is all that has happened in human history. From Aristotle to Ayn Rand, from Plato to Karl Marx, from Hitler to Stalin to Pol Pot to Barack, catch me if you can, Obama. This is the entire history of Western thought, has been the careful study and cataloging of shit and garbage. And that's really all. And, you know, yuck, ick. Why? What's the benefit? What's the upside? I'm here to talk about the opposite idea. An idea I call splendor. We can certainly agree that there is such a thing as squalor. You don't have to travel too far from where you are to end up at the local Starnesville, whatever it is, the local spot where everyone is continuously devoted to discriminations among shit, debris, garbage, dust, dirt, foulness, and putrescence. That's squalor in real life, but if you take into account what's going on in the rest of the world, you'll find out that it's, in one way or another, the obsession with squalor to the exclusion of almost everything else. That every active pursuit in the West consists of squalor pursuit in one way or another, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. This is not how I live, and frankly, if you're listening to me, this is not how you live, so let's do something different. I am an atheist. This is an atheist, egoist church, and if that causes you problems, then your problems will be infinite, but I say to other atheists, don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole. You believe what you want to believe. You have a set of metaphysical and cosmological beliefs that you can't demonstrate, just like everybody else. And if you took the best informed mind on the subject of cosmology and had him put everyone else in rank order from the best informed to the least informed, you would have 7 billion useless cosmological opinions. That the best informed opinion may someday lead to some kind of theoretical breakthrough that will tell us something actually interesting about the structure of the universe, but what we know now is next to nothing. We are gazing into a mansion at dusk, peering in through the keyhole and describing what we are seeing. And I don't want to dismiss Aristotle and all the other students of shit and garbage, because studying shit and garbage and butterflies and stars and astrophysics, these are all very, very valuable things if you are making a map, if you are building a map, if you are drawing a map. But they are all really fundamentally useless when you're trying to use a map. So when you meet a butterfly collector and he wants to tell you about his collection of 3,000 different species of butterflies, you say, good on you, buddy, that's fascinating. So long now. Because it's interesting to him and it's valuable to you that it's interesting to him, but it is not valuable to you. And so first, the Aristotelian obsession, the reductionist obsession with shit and garbage is probably a lot less useful than it seems to be. Certainly it's useless for the job of managing a happy, flourishing, thriving, splendorous human life. That reductionist science has proved to be amazingly useless at this, which is why religion is still a competitive force in the marketplace of ideas, even though it's validated solely in the form of claimed introspective experiences. But the other part of the obsession with shit and garbage, with butterfly collections, with useless cosmological theories and non-demonstrable physical theories, and all of the other white noises produced by academia, echoed by the media and the arts, implemented in law by governments. What else is wrong with that is that it is a completely inappropriate way to use a map. To focus on minutia when you're looking at a map is a mistake, except when you're considering your origin and your destination. The rest is just the route. And getting obsessed with other people's obsessions is a path to squalor. That just by itself is a path to squalor. So let's go back to garbage, debris, dust, dirt, shit, and try to figure out why it is that that's all you want to talk about. I can give you a metaphor to make this reasonably understandable. If you go to 29th Avenue and Pinnacle Peak Road in Phoenix, if you stand facing directly east and I stand facing directly west, and we stand there back to back and describe what we see, I will tell you about a beautiful park, just beautiful rolling meadows and gorgeous, sturdy trees and kids and dogs chasing frisbees and moms and dads sitting at picnic tables watching the kids and dogs play, and here's a loving couple over there spooning by a tree, and there's a husband and wife walking hand in hand and just rekindling their marriage in a beautiful setting, and the sun is setting and the sky is golden and everything is heavenly. And yet all you can see is garbage, debris, dust and dirt, decay, ruin, destruction, gray, bleak, hopeless future. That's all you can see. And why would that be so in real life? Why would that be so in existential reality? Why would that be so? It's because we're at a landfill, and I'm looking at the old part, which has been turned into a park, and you're looking into the new part, which is still being used as a dump. And practically speaking, that is the metaphysics that is driving all intellectual activity in the West and has driven it since Aristotle and really since the birth of humanity, that human beings have always stared at the dump, stared in horror at the dump, stared in fear, but also in awe. Your metaphysics consists of shit worship. Really, it consists of catalogs of evils and failures and hurts and heartbreaks and expectations of physical and economic disaster and end of the world. I mean, every year or two we have yet another big news cycle devoted to some idiot prognostication of the end of the world by some idiot theologian who died 1,000 years ago. Death, destruction, hatred, warfare, conflict, anger, pain, misery, guilt. This is the substance of your metaphysics. It's the substance of your epistemology, that you are alike unto Aristotle and all of reductionist science in the sense that you think it's vitally important to make careful discriminations among types of shit. That A completely uninformed opinion of cosmology is somehow less valuable than a very studiously, carefully uninformed opinion of a cosmology, and that you make these discriminations all the time where you are basically discriminating among zeros. You're saying that garbage is worse than debris, so 0 is greater than 0. No, that's false. 0 equals 0, or -1 equals -1. These are not intelligent equations because you're missing life for your obsession with death. And all that shows up in your ethics, that number one, you start off by claiming that the universe is indifferent to your existence, which, I mean, if you're talking about the universe as stars and planets, sands on the beach, it's 100% true. There's nothing that is not alive that cares about you. Most of the things that are alive care very much about staying alive, but they don't give a shit about you. The very small number of people and animals who care about you because you're lovable from the inside out, not for any other reason. There is no reason in the world for anything in the universe to love you absent your action. You are obsessively aware of your own death. We acknowledge that all living things eventually will die. That so far as we know, what the physicists wave their hands and call anentropy, anti-entropy, things that we can't explain because they don't decay. Everything decays, and if our theories of causality are true, then everything should decay in the same orderly fashion. We have laws for this, and they apply to everything except organisms. So physicists get to living organisms, and they can't figure it out. They can't explain it with their theories. So Erwin Schrödinger, the inventor of the Schrödinger's cat so-called paradox, came up with the word anentropy. This is hand-waving. That's what it's... Hand-waving means I can't explain this. I'm going to wave my hands around really fast and hope that I can slide this past you without a challenge. But organisms do not live forever. So far, we haven't found any organism that lives forever. We know of some organisms that have no natural cause of death, and that's a very promising branch of biology for human beings. But at the same time, we're looking at all kinds of, mechanical or nanotechnological enhancements that could result in human beings that don't die. But right now, everything dies, and everything that lives dies, and you are obsessively aware of it. That your awareness of your life is pretty slim, but your awareness of your death is almost constant. And of course, this is what religion is all about. Religion is all about the palliation of the pain of death. Everything else that religion does is an ancillary product of trying to console people with the death of their loved ones. It's completely understandable. It's not horribly rigorous in my opinion, but completely understandable. And then the third leg of the tripod of your ridiculous ethics, of course, is determinism. In one form or another, and there are a zillion forms of it, and the reductionist argument is a perfect example, but there are so many. The determinist argument is that nothing that you actually do is either your virtue or your vice. It is not your responsibility. You didn't cause it. Anything, any illusion that you might have that you are the author of the events of your life is false. It's completely incorrect. And so I say the world is beautiful, and you say, oh my God, no, the world is hideous, it's a dump. And I say, look at all the beautiful things, the incredible wealth, the unbelievable riches that nature itself provides without any human intervention. But look at all of the wonderful things that I can do on top of that. Look at this beautiful world that I can make for myself. And you say, oh, no. There are many, many types of things, but all of them are shit. And all we can do is discriminate among types of shit. Better shit, worse shit. That's it. Oh, woe is me. The universe doesn't care about me, so therefore that rationalizes my complete indifference to my own life in the universe. The universe doesn't care about me. I'll get my revenge. I won't care about it. Brilliant. I'm going to die someday. I know for sure I'm going to lose. No one gets out alive. And therefore I won't bother to live now. I'm going to live for 70. I'm going to live for 70 years. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend every day obsessing about my death, obsessing about my pain, obsessing about my losses, staring at the scars on my skin and never once noticing how perfect my skin is, how perfect my life is. And I'm going to stand at the edge of the pit at the dump, and I'm going to swear there's nothing that I can do. I can't move forward because I'll fall in. I can't move backward because there's no way to go. I'm born, I wait, I die, and I have no choice about any of it. All I can do is stand here staring into the abyss, waiting for the moment when causeless nature or meaningless nature, when the indifferent universe pushes me into the dump. And that's all I have to live for is my eventual death. And I say, no, look at the world of art, for goodness sake. Look at all the works of genius that people have brought to us over the years. Lovely, beautiful works of art, the unbelievable images, the sounds, the sights, the colors, the literature, the poetry. Oh my God, the poetry that people have left to us. There's so much beauty in the world. How can you miss it? And you say, no, 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 no. Art is the cataloging of shit, despair, and inevitable death. And that's all it ever can be. That comedy is an illusion. There are no happy endings. All there is death, despair, and misery. And all there is in art is the cataloging of that despair and misery. How can we have this conversation? Are you insane? Are you completely daft? Look at that lovely couple over there. And they're just fooling around. They're a little bit of slap and tickle, a little bit of making out. But you know where they're headed. Sooner or later, they're going to walk hand in hand, arm in arm, to their car, and they're going to drive home. There's so much in love that you know that the love that they make is going to be ennobling and enriching and inspiring and inspiriting, and they're going to be better people at the end of it. And they're going to be better people for a while afterward, maybe forever, but at least for a while afterward. And if they make that kind of love often enough, they can be wonderful to each other forever. Whatever else you see in the world, you must see that. And you say, no, 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 sex is dirty, sex is nasty, sex is filthy. And the only thing to be figured out is if nasty sex is filthier than filthy sex. But all sex is filthy and dirty, and it only leads to heartbreak and divorce and despair and misery. And when the whole universe is a dump, everything is shit. I hate all of those ideas. And it doesn't matter that I hate them, because what matters is that I love all the other ideas that I was talking about. I love the idea that Earth is a paradise. I love real epistemology, taking on the real world as it really exists and understanding it, apprehending it. My ethics is nothing but self-adoration, and I'll talk about this another day because it's a big, big topic, but I believe in a universe that starts here and emanates outward. A universe that really exists, the universe of stars and planets and sands on the beach, yes, it really exists, but it's meaningless. It's nothing. It has nothing really to do with my life except as I encounter it, except as I experience it. And so the universe of my experience starts inside my head and emanates outward. And that the universe is indifferent to me is completely meaningless. It's complete nonsense. It doesn't matter at all. What matters is that I am not at all indifferent to the universe of my experience. And to the extent that anything is happening in the universe of my experience, it's happening because I'm making it happen. To be is to do. To be as a human being is to do human things. The universe does not happen to you. Other people do not happen to you. Events do not happen to you. The weight of the universe does not fall on your shoulders. The fates do not befall you. These things do not happen. None of these things happen. You're ascribing, intentional cause, the human type of cause, to inanimate objects and events, and at the same time you are denying your own free moral agency. You're denying the human cause in yourself. You're ascribing the human cause to everything in the universe except the one human being that you actually control. And this is absurd. This is unbelievably, fundamentally wrong. I'm erasing the blackboard of philosophy all the way back to Socrates, and I'm only leaving him around because he was my kind of intellectual. He was follow the argument wherever it leads. That's what Aristotle said, but it was Socrates who did it. Follow the argument wherever it leads. And if my life, my universe, if everything that matters to me starts here and emanates outward, then everything that matters in my life is in here. And everything that I want from the universe, I will get by initiating action in here. And you know this. No one doubts this. You live this way all the time. You live this way 167 hours a week, 1 hour a week, or whatever. You pretend to live in that world of shit and garbage, and obviously it dominates your attention. The time that you spend not doing anything, you spend dwelling on shit and garbage in one way or another. And I challenge you to think about that. Really take it apart. Watch your mind. When you're thinking just by yourself, and you will be amazed at how much time you spend dwelling on the negative, on the unproductive, on the useless, on the wasteful, on the wasted, on the decaying, on the dying, on the putrescent, on the horrifyingly ugly. This is where your mind turns when you don't turn your hand to something productive, when you're not doing things. What you're doing is really destroying your life. And I'm the alternative to that. I want splendor in my own life. This is the way I live in my own life, but I want splendor in your life, and I want no squalor. I want no more squalor. I want the squalor gone from your thoughts, but that's a hard thing to do. That's a hard job to get done. My mission is evangelizing egoism. My church exists to evangelize egoism, and what that means is that I want you to worship yourself, your self-image, your idea of your life. I want you to worship that idea in the same way that you would consider worshiping the idea of a God. I don't think it's useful or productive to worship things that don't have any existential existence or can't be demonstrated to have any existential existence, but yourself definitely does exist in real life, in this life, not in the next life. What happens in the next life, if there is one, I don't know. My plan is, when I die, my plan is to move into a hefty bag and join the favela down at the dump, because I don't believe I have any future after death, but I don't care if I do. I'm interested in this life and living this life right now. Because as far as I know, this is the only life I have, and as far as I know, it's the only life I'll ever need or want. I love this life. I love this part. I don't see the dump. Only you see the dump. All I see is the part. And I want you to do as I'm doing, to evangelize egoism, but the first ego to be evangelized is your own. As long as you live for death, you can't live for life. As long as you focus your attention on discriminating among types of squalor, you'll never be able to pursue splendor. You will always be focused on losing slowly. You can never, ever win, because every game that you set up in your life, you'll set up in two ways. One, the least ideal way is where you lose big, and the most ideal way is the one where you lose small. But in both cases, you intend to lose. You set up every game in your life to lose. I can show you how to do the opposite, how to set up every game in your life that you always win. But the question of the week was, what should a morally ambitious person do? And I don't pick on religion much. I certainly don't pick on people who believe in God much at all, because I think they're morally ambitious. I think that they're really trying hard to be better people, and anybody who's trying hard to be better is my friend. That's how you get away from the dump. You turn around and walk away one step at a time. And if you're walking away from the dump, God help you, I want to walk with you. I certainly want to encourage you in the voyage. But the first ego to be evangelized is your own. And what should a morally ambitious person do? A morally ambitious person should do better. A morally ambitious person should embrace the poetry that drives the best in your life. A morally ambitious person should dance. Should just dance. That everything you do should be a dance. You should be dancing through life. And why? Because you're living in a beautiful park, full of riches and wonder, ripe with the opportunity for love and devotion and deep, deep, meaningful relationships with people who really, really matter. You should dance. What should a morally ambitious person do? A morally ambitious person should thrive. Every living thing should flourish. Every living thing wants to flourish. That's what all of those subcellular, single-celled organisms, all of those plants, all of those bugs, all of those lizards and birds and animals, all of those mammals, all of those dogs and kitties that we love so much, every living organism, including us, every living organism wants to flourish, to prosper, to grow, and to provide a good environment for our offspring. This is the teleology that's built into biology. Unlike every other living organism, we can deviate from what is obviously an ontologically consonant teleology, a teleology that's consonant with our true nature. We can pursue evil, we can pursue vice, we can pursue squalor, we can roll around in the shit, we can soil ourselves indefinitely, but you can't achieve splendor that way. You will not learn to love your life that way. You cannot thrive that way. And thriving is a type of flourishing that only human beings can do, because to thrive as a human being means to flourish as a consequence of your own past thought and action. To thrive, you have to know why you're thriving. You have to know why your plans worked, why your plans were accurate, why you correctly predicted the results, and why you achieved those results. But what should a morally ambitious person do? A morally ambitious person should thrive in this life. Thrive. And the way that you thrive is by acting appropriately upon yourself, by choosing admirably in every choice you make. And it doesn't mean admirably to other people, it means admirably to yourself. That every choice that you make should leave you feeling greater admiration for yourself. And if you always choose that way, you'll always be moving in the direction of splendor. You'll never be moving in the direction of squalor. So what? Tell me what? What should a morally ambitious person do? A morally ambitious person should turn around. The very first thing you should do is turn around. Stop focusing on shit and garbage. Start focusing on your values, on the things that really matter to you in your life, the things that you really love, the people that you really love, the job and the career, the activity, the life that you really love. Start playing in that part and stop staring at that abyss of a dump. That's the first step, and it's only the first step, but that's the first step. You have to do that first. First, you have to turn around. What should a morally ambitious person do? A morally ambitious person should turn